did I do now? This is not my day. What did I do? Okay. Figure this out. I just had it going. Just had it. There we go. I can close that. Close that one. That's not what I want to do. Alright, guys, I'm trying to set this thing up. If I close it, great. I did what I was not trying to do. Alright, let's see. I have to do this way. I'm talking to myself. Is the live working? It's working. I'm just trying to pull up the screen, double screen, my screen, so I don't have to look down. Thank you for joining. I am so glad that you popped in here, Priscilla, because I owe you links. It's coming. I've just been busy, but I did get your request, and I will get those things out. Alright, and now I just drew a blank. Alright, let me figure out what I was doing. See if I can pull this up and not have to look down. Boy, such is life. Technology is a beast. Alright, I got this screen back. Let's see. Minimize. Okay. Waiting for the chat. Oh, it would help to scroll down. Does it still say waiting? Refresh your screen, Priscilla, and see, because I see myself. I'm seeing the comments. I'm assuming everybody else can see me. So just hit the refresh button and see if that helps. And I also see log out and come back in. That may also help second. Good afternoon, everyone. You guys, I want to say that say a prayer for me. Say a prayer for me, for the family. Yeah, I'm a little late. I was waiting on a phone call that I really didn't want to get, but yeah. And if you guys know me, I'm just, my spirit is gone right now, and you probably can tell. I can tell. So I was kind of debating on whether I should keep this going or not. But I'm one to, just pray on things and not let the bad thoughts and spirits manifest, because in the end it'll work out. There's only so much we can do and control situations and things like that. And I felt it would be better for me to go ahead and go forth with this chat than to sit here and dwell on the situation, because um, I also have the kids, and if I'm having a bad day, they will also feel it. So there's no need to get everybody um, down because of what's going on. And even though it is a family situation, it's something that they don't need to be aware of. So you restart your phone. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of how we deal with things when things get chaotic and I'm having a moment. um we just kind of hold on. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Hey, Tariq, come through the back. Aaliyah, let him, or Layla, let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Let him go. Who's holding him? Who's holding him? That, untie it. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Whew. All right. Anyway, as I was saying, when I'm going through something or we're having a rough day or something like that, I don't let it stress everybody else out, even if it's just one of the kids. Um, we don't continue. I kind of just wrap things up and just grab one or two of them at a time, um, and let the other one go, because that will kill the spirit of everybody. To have somebody acting up, they just can't concentrate, they can't function, and there's no need in trying to press the issue if that's that's the situation. So, little tip for you all that deal with, because I know everybody deals with unexpected and all kinds of things. So shake it off, pray about it, and just kind of shut things down. It's not the end of the world. One day is not going to hurt out of seven. That's what I say. They'll probably come in here later on and do whatever it is they want to work on. Anywho, we're going to talk about this. She asked us to pray for her and the family while they're going through the situation. Thank you. Because curriculum controversy. You guys, do you see? I'm sure you do. It's taboo, but it's really not. Controversy. I just, it's a lot. Curriculum is personal choice and family choice, and boils down to discipline and beliefs. But do you all see controversy in the community? What do you think about it? Um, and first of all, I want to say that I am not here to bash any one curriculum, although I am going to speak about one in particular that I see that is causing so much controversy. And I just, I didn't even know. I knew about this curriculum a while ago. It's not anything new, but, you know, a, a, a rave has been going on. And it's one of those, when I say it's too good to be true, and those are the ones that really red flag, in my mind. If I had not known, previously, when I saw everything going on around it, I would have said, red flag. I have to check this out. Yes, ma'am, Priscilla. That's it. That's it. So, because it just leaves me to question some things I mean, it's too good to be true. And it's like, really, what is it? It's like what do you call it? Bandwagon. It's a bandwagon. It's all over the place. Yeah, it's a bandwagon. And so, you guys, I have never ever spoke on this curriculum. I've never given my thoughts or opinions or anything. You might have seen something somewhere recently. If you watch who I watch, you might have seen something. And I think I'm going to bring that up because, yeah, give that person their props. Um, but yeah, I've never spoke on it because it's one of those that, I'm not using. Like when I spoke on the I did the video on the material you need to watch out for. You know, the agendas behind them and things like that. Um, watch out for yourself. Don't just jump on that bandwagon thing and think, this is all good and it's packaged pretty and it promises this and, yeah. So, what do you guys think about the good and the beautiful? I know I can't say it's good or bad. Never tried it. Okay, thank you, love. For those of you that have looked at it, what do you think about it? Just even a review. I haven't looked into the language arts or someone that you follow using it. I appreciate the science unit studies, and so far I have not seen anything else I disagree with, but there is no one perfect curriculum. Gotta drive now. Dang it. I have to look back later. Bye. Okay. Yeah, there's not one perfect, but the thing is, the part of the controversy with this is it's one of those too good to be true. Everybody's saying it's revolutionary. It did this and it did that. And yeah. So I'm just, wondering. But then on the other token, I hear there's not a perfect curriculum, but, again, oh, this one does this and it does that. So which one is it? I don't know. Um, Three and None says, I've never used the Good and the Beautiful curriculum, but the bits and pieces I saw in history turned me away. That's great if it works for you and your family. Yeah. That's why I say I'm not, we're not bashing anybody or, the curriculum or anything at all. That's not the purpose of this. But that bandwagon effect, like I said, when I looked at it, I didn't speak on it because I just saw some things, and you guys know how I am anyways. So, I'm not the average, I'm going to, even if I bare bones it, it has to be worth using just the bare bones without me having to tweak it. If I have to tweak it, I don't want it. I can continue to do what I'm doing. It's just the cost of tweaking it after I've purchased this thing. I don't want to have to go through that. Everything we have used in terms of all curriculum, we've always tweaked. And that's fine. If you go into it with that, with that understanding that you do have to tweak it. Yes, there are things that I know I have to tweak. I'm not saying that I don't tweak things. I use things differently all the time. But there are some things that I just didn't particularly care for myself. But the thing is, I'm seeing, after this thing just kind of popped up everywhere, the controversy, that it's causing. I just, like I said, I never knew that there was so much controversy around these curriculum. And it's coming from both sides of the fence, okay? I'm going to read to you guys a couple things that, that kind of stuck out to me. And not really, I'm not going to say, where I got them. They're here. But, it's public. It's everybody's opinions. It's unfortunate about the history. Somebody says, small scripture quoted, then slanted unbiblically. Almost purchased but decided against for that very reason. So scripture was slanted. One that really stuck out to me. I don't feel responsible to inform everyone of curriculum creator beliefs. Now, this is someone that has shared the curriculum that they're using, and somebody had an issue with the non-disclosure of the belief of the creator. Now, on that really gave me pause, because when I share with you all things, I like to let you know, hey, this is where this is coming from, and this is why we don't use these things. I'm not, and it's not a one-sided opinion, but I'm going to say, yes, this is worldview, or yes, this is Christian based, or this is not, or this is secular. Or I feel that if I'm sharing these things, I do have a responsibility, because I don't want somebody to look at all of this good, things that I'm showing you and get all excited, and then, chunk their money out on this thing, and it's something that doesn't even line up with their beliefs. That right there would leave me with a guilty conscience. So I'm going to full disclose everything. You have to make your own better judgment. And so some people were, fine with the person not wanting to disclose that, but other people were saying, you need to disclose it. Okay. Some of it, the bare bones of the curriculum is okay. The rest of it is junk. The lessons aren't even. It's out of chronological order. And this is in regards to history. I'm thinking it's one of those where it looks, glossy, it's packaged all pretty and, things like that, but all that glitters is not gold, guys. So again, it's a lot of controversy. People are arguing back and forth over this one particular curriculum, and it's like, wow. Um, wow. I want to say, what else have I pulled up? Somebody said, honestly, I'm disappointed, even if she claims the curriculum is non-denominational. There are many quotes from LDS scholars in there. Her Jesus is not my Jesus. Pretty heavy. Somebody said that comment right there was weighing on their heart as well. So obviously it is an issue. And again, everybody has their own personal preference, but um, people voicing their opinion really, I guess that's what matters. Um, but I want to say it matters to again, it's a family issue, but some people are disclosing certain things in these reviews and some people are not. So the ones that are not, and the people are, persuade that way, I'm running to buy this thing again, and they go get it and it goes against everything, or some of the things that just really, yeah. From a what I know, there is okay, I just spoke on the LDS. It is written by someone of LDS uh, belief. However, other people did have hand in it. Um, there's also an LDS, I want to say option, but see, it's not an option because when this thing was written, it was written from that perspective, from the LDS perspective. Okay. To be marketed, that perspective had to be optional because in largely it's going to reach more people as an option. That's what I wanted. That's my little stance on it. To be marketed. So a lot of people said that right there, just knowing that, that's who it's coming from, that didn't sit well. And that's, understandably, that also does not sit well with me, because there are going to be some um, influences there. Whether some people are saying they don't see them, a lot of people do say they see them. It's slanted. The ones that are saying they don't see it is because they don't want to see it. Um, but obviously there are people saying that they see it. So yeah. What else? Somebody said on this persecution in this day and age, that's sad. And sad that I refuse to teach my children with curriculum made by a cult. Save yourself for the LDS Church. Learn the history. You know, some of these things, it just makes you go, wow, I didn't know it was controversial. Yeah, I did. I had no, like I said, I just watch. I support people and just watch, but I also read comments as well. Okay. I read in groups, different posts and different blogs and things like that. So, I'm not pointing to any one person, but this one curriculum just stands out to me like that. It's written, Protestant perspective. What is stated that in the little introduction is it's truth. So truth. And so I have to take that, just like I say, I pull apart everything else. My expectations of things is written in truth. Whose truth? It's good and it's beautiful. Who's good and who's beautiful? Okay, it's very, very, it's a slippery slope to put that out there like that. But those are keywords that will grab people in right away. Oh, it's the truth. Oh, it's uh, biblical principle. I didn't see that much biblical principle, to be honest. I'm looking at it, but I don't see any more than many other things. There are aspects, biblical scriptures and things like that, but it's not even overly. That's not what I would consider biblical. Um, so, I mean, if I were choosing for that reason, I would be disappointed. But I know better than that. Um, Something that I saw, which is very, it's always controversial in any curriculum, the history. Somebody said um, it was uneven. I guess the thing was written to be, because if you're going chronologically, it'll be years before children hit certain, especially U.S. history. It was written to, cycle through several times throughout the school age for the kids to, hit certain points. But it's also written in story form and not that much fact. So that's another thing. The stories, it's good and it's beautiful. Who's good and who's beautiful? Okay. There's a lot of bias, is what I saw. A lot of bias. What I saw in particular, it went from Columbus to America. No regards to African American history anywhere before or that much thereafter. But what it did do was kind of weakly portray some things, some images, and then one of the what do you call it? The Explorer books. I gotta pull this up. Um, this thing was talking about indentured servants. It went from Columbus to indentured servants. So I'm like, okay, who are the indentured servants? How did you get? And it had one. It did say something about slave, and that was it. Just that one, something like the slave. Let's see if I can find this thing. And so I'm like, how did you get from this to this in just one sentence? Many. Let me make sure I'm on the right order. Okay. Let's say many farmers and plantation owners were so eager for laborers that they were ready to pay the cost of voyage for immigrants who could work for them for a period of years in exchange for passage to America. Adults had to serve from 3 to 7 years, the contract between the master and the servant, known as an indenture. The terms of the indenture were harsh, and the servant was not much better off than a slave. Okay, that's it. However, when the time of the servitude was up, the man or the woman usually received a suit of clothes or her from his or her master. Often the male indentured servant received a small grant of land, managed to become an let me see. Did I screenshot that? Twice managed to become independent farmer. Most indentured servants came to America on their own free will. Own free will, okay? Gladly binding themselves to service for a term of years in order to reach America. Entire families sometimes came this way. Other individuals were kidnapped or carried away against their wills upon arriving in America. So they arrived in America and then they were kidnapped. How did that happen? They were sold to whomever would pay the most. But how did we get here? Some came from Europe to America seeking religious and political freedoms. Among those coming to escape religious persecution were Pilgrims, Puritans, Quakers, Huguenots, Catholics, and Jews. Some individuals came as officials, ministers of the gospel, or missionaries to the Native Americans. Others came for the love of adventure. A large number of people came in hope of making a better living. The custom of giving the newcomer 50 or 100 acres of land attracted the poor working people and peasants of Europe and America. They would become independent landowners while in Europe. It was practically impossible to reach that goal. That's a slap in the face. Thank you, three and done. So slaves, okay, but then it went under disguise as indentured servants. Then we were kidnapped or carried away after we got here. How we get here? We don't own no ships. No mention till we built this country after we got here. None. It went on to other things. The images. Now, I talked about this book in the viral Black History video that I did last month. And I told you guys I use this book with discretion. I have high schoolers, okay? But just this image right here on the front, okay? This is not something that I want my little kids to know of us straight away. Now, I love James Haskins, okay? But this is not what I want to see or let them see straight away, okay? Awesome. I'm not discrediting this work right here, but I'm going to show you something in reference to the image, because there's only one page of us in that curriculum. It's an image similar to this one, okay? So of all the history that is good and that is beautiful, that image is supposed to be good. We weren't good enough to share more than an image that looks like that. I was reading that from the samples. What I just read off my phone, that was from the samples. I had to screenshot. So that's public. Anybody can see that. But that image, that's not what I want my kids to see and know of us. That's all we know. No, that's not. Okay, we were here. We were there before. Sorry, I had a phone call. We had done many great things before slavery even, became in effect. So many ideas stolen from us. But that's all the good that you could find to put in that curriculum. And like I said, the opinions come from both sides of the fence. A lot of other races were also offended by that. Okay? They're offended by that because that's all they see. These, like I said, these are not the first images that I want to show my kids. That's just not good. Um, some of the thoughts of the curriculum progressively. Let's see. I'm trying to see what's going on with my phone. Um, like that can progressively harm kids intellectually, psychologically, and spiritually. And they prove that they can be they can be a central destructive influence of homeschooling. It can leave kids to struggle with extreme self-doubt, self-hatred, and depression. Okay? I don't know, this not the only thing out there. I can't understand other people's decision. I'm not shirking their decision or discrediting anybody's decision. It's a personal decision, but that's not good. That is not good, and it's not beautiful at all. Is what you're reading on their website like an excerpt from the curriculum for these points from reviews? Yeah, that like I said, that was from the that's from the curriculum site itself in the samples. I heard some of the samples were removed because of, I guess, the controversy going on and replaced with something else. I don't know. I can't remember what all I saw, but that was on there last night. I double checked to see if it was still there. Oh wow, most of these curriculum are one-sided. It's not surprising. So yeah, but again, that's just my little 2 cents. I'm not any, you know, I'm not giving any kind of viewpoint worse than anybody else. Um, what really surprised me was to see certain families that say, they have other belief and they jumped on it. That's what surprised me. It's like, wait a minute, you were very critical of something else and yet you jumped on this. Why? Um, Something else I wanted to say about this. Oh, now as far as the reviews go, like I said, all I saw was it's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's this, it's that, and it's okay, all the unboxings and I watched all the stuff like everybody else did. And somebody that I follow and I've been following forever, and they purchased a curriculum and unboxed it a few months back, and I want to say maybe about 6 weeks ago or so, did a review on it. Um, Guys, I was so taken by that review. It was stellar. It was stellar. It was the first review, honest review, because I know this person, that I had ever seen so transparent and so honest. And I just thought, wow, why is everybody else missing this? Are they so blindsided, or are they afraid to speak their real thoughts and opinions on this thing? Because I know I'm not the only one that saw what I saw. Of course, this person saw it too and said, I don't want to give this type of image to my child. And there were other things said, not just the history. There are some other things I might talk about in a few minutes. If I forget, remind me. The language arts, I saw some things in there too. Um, but it just turned them off, and they're no longer using it guys follow Mom Zest, go check out Mom Zest. Check out the unboxing of it, and then go check out the review that she did on it. Read the comments. So, yeah. Let's see. Let me read this. I purchased a few of the Homeschool in the Woods history packs and their Travel Explorer series is disturbing to me. I'm currently adding Black presence to this series, and I shouldn't have to. Yeah, and that happens a lot. And a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm fine with it because XYZ." Okay. We know that there's a lack of history. Not to make this all about history, but there's a lack of our history out there, and we don't want anybody to tell our history because they don't know our history. They won't share it in truth, okay? Because it's not all pretty, okay? Hey, Sodbuster, glad you joined. Um, but again, there are some things that should not be slighted. We should not be hearing about, we came over here on free will and all of that. That's not the truth. What I am examining, I'm taking it to heart is certain histories. Now I know, I looked at, that was kind of the year 1 in that curriculum, the history, but the year 2 in that curriculum also did not, it goes all the way up to Ronald Reagan. It didn't talk about us anymore. Okay. And I'm like, who built this country? So when speaking on history, and being that I have older children, little children, I kind of understand what they can handle when, and everybody, has their discretion when it comes to their children. A lot of like the slavery aspect and things like that. We're talking about controversy in this good and the beautiful girl. Those are topics that are usually discussed later because the children are too immature. Okay. But at the same time, if what I just read from those samples is given to, that's in the lower book, given to the little kids, that is what they are going to believe. Once they get into the 7th, 8th, ninth grade, excuse me, those kids are old enough to read stuff on their own. You can give them a history book and tell them to read. They can learn themselves. How are you going to get that out of their head because they have learned what they should have learned? How are you going to get that out of their head? They have this image in their head that we just were over here and captured in X, Y, and the pictures. How do you explain that? My kids will call me out on things that they don't explain, I mean, that they don't understand. If I'm coming to them with something and it just seems funny, they will question me. Even my little ones, they will question me. We were my 4-year-old, we were talking about little rabbit hole. Fish. Okay. We talked about fish before, but she was probably, I don't know, she was younger. So we're talking about fish, and we discuss a little bit here and there about things, but I was telling her that fish lay eggs. No, they don't lay eggs, because she's used to the chickens and the birds and the XYZ. I asked her, how did they have babies? No, I had to open the book and show her, and I said, read what this says, because she can read. Lay eggs. And she said, so now she's running around the house telling everybody, but again, they don't just hear from me what I'm telling them and run with it. So if I tell them something, I can't go back later on and say, well, I just only told you this because I didn't think you would understand it. That's, I don't know if some people, that's how they inform their children or teach their children. That may be fine. What's the matter?
Nothing.
Say hello.
Hello. My shirt looks yellow.
Yeah, it does. Okay. So, yeah. Um, oh, the good and the beautiful. You got it, Priscilla. Shirley's with an extra L pronounced Shoeley. Shoeleys. Oh, good. Oh, the good and the beautiful. Sweet. Amen, sister. That's my worry. Okay. Yeah, having to go back and, you know, if you give them chunks and pieces of things and you give it to them the right way, the best way you know how, gathering all your sources without trying to sugarcoat it, without just showing them this is it. Hello. Um, we're doing a whole unit study on the Underground Railroad, and they're getting this, they're getting just all sorts of things, not just that. I have to kind of put that together because it's a lot, and it's a lot. It's just a lot. Mommy life. I'm glad you're in here. Mommy life.
Can I get some graham crackers now? Because I didn't want to eat them.
Wash your hands and you can get them. We're talking about this controversy and this curriculum, the good and the beautiful. So, yeah, I'm using a lot of different sources, but I'm making not just reference to us. The Underground Railroad did not just have to do with us. They want to know the whole picture behind it. Why were they escaping? Why were they doing this? Why were they even slaves to begin with? So I'm just, spilling it out. And they'll ask my older kids. So, I just go with it. I try not to be too, because I know kids watch the videos and stuff like that. I try not to put too much out there if the kids are watching the videos, but I'm going to somehow try to sit down and put this thing together to show you what I'm using, the materials that I'm using and things like that, just on this aspect. But history is something that I like my kids to know everything, everybody's history, world history, every culture, not just our history, not just their history, all cultures, because we live in the world. We don't live in us. We don't just, I'm not just dwelling. Look what they did to us back then. You know, that I'm not indoctrinating my kids. Okay. They can use their own discretion and learn if they want to later on. They may become scholars. I don't know. I have one that majored in African and African American studies because that's that was her jam. So but I didn't promote that. I wasn't heavily into that. They just were exposed to it. Okay, I use the language arts and science. How do you feel about the language arts and science portion of that? I haven't used the history. I teach our own history instead. See, okay. Yeah. A lot of people are leery of the good and the beautiful history. In that way. Gotta run. We'll catch the replay. Okay. Thank you. If you guys are in here, do me a thumbs up. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. I'm trying to keep track of how many people's in here. Yeah, the science. I kind of, the science is science is science. It's one of those. You either like it or you don't, or you're using it. It looks very nice. Again, I'm not using any portion of the curriculum. What I was looking at was the language arts. You guys know I'm all about language and phonics and reading and things like that. And I was really interested in that. The little card thingies to teach the grammar, I'm not too fond of that. Um, what else? The syllabication, the blending, and the little phonics cards. I was looking at those things because I have the hooked on phonics cards. But what I saw was blends like blends, digraphs, and things like that. They are being taught to they're being taught to sh is broken down by sh. Why is it broken down? What, shouldn't it be together or together, not ch and then whatever comes after? That's what I couldn't get my wrap my head around. So I just it looked kind of confusing because I could not figure out how to even use them. They just look really, I mean, the way it's being taught, it just, I don't know. But then it looked kind of repetitive, and that's what somebody else said about the mom's S was saying about the language arts and the spelling. It got repetitive, and um, it just wasn't effective. Yes, you may. So, um, like I said, I never really spoke on it because I knew I wasn't using it, but it's just some of the things in there. My kids are not going to. They they don't get bored easily, but if things are repetitive like that, they don't need to be drilled. They're not drill type kids. They get it. Um, they wouldn't benefit from something like that. Um, let's see. So basically, this controversy is brought on by choice. Um, but mainly what I see, like I said, is people listen to her. The simple answer on it is having the self discipline to not stray from your own beliefs based on something that you see somebody else using. Stay disciplined. If this is not your jam, don't fall for it just because everybody else is doing it. If something is just not right, even that one little thing, it's okay. You don't have to jump on the bandwagon. It is not to say that the thing is bad. It's just not, for your family. Um, Now I jumped late. You're frustrated because, well, that's just my little part of it. I just didn't see the diversity of it, but that's what I'm hearing from a lot of people. It's not just me. That's not just my opinion. I started with reading other opinions of the curriculum, lots of people's opinions. So you want to go back and watch from the beginning. I never knew there was that much controversy over this one curriculum. I actually love it. It has brought great peace into our homeschool. At first, there was lots of cries, anxiety in our homeschool. My children are actually blossoming. That is beautiful. Um, yeah, some people say it is good and it's doing things that they didn't imagine, and that's fine. Now, as far as the diversity, there's a lack of diversity in the images, but I do my own picture study art. Yes, African American composers and music. Yeah, um, yeah, there is art. Yeah, so again, it's lacking. It is lacking, and not every there's not one curriculum that has everything into it, but this one is lacking. And again, I was just kind of shocked by the people I saw swayed by it because it's so heavily lacking. It's like, wait a minute, where's this thought coming from? But I understand that you add other things into it. I wonder if the beauty is pulling everyone, not so much the content. Yes, ma'am, that's what it is. It's all that prettiness, all that prettiness. When I looked at it, like I said, I didn't see. I was looking at I found it through something else. It was before everybody started showing the reviews and things like that. And it looked all nice and shiny, and I said, wait a minute, there's something behind this. But I think that's what it is. It's just so beautiful, and you can download this, and you can, yeah. I am not so much worried about how it looks. I'm worried about how it performs. You know, look at that Bible over there is black. It's a basic black Bible, and that's what I use. There's no pictures in it. That's the best book right there. I don't have to worry about how it how it looks. If I had the Dead Sea Scrolls, I'll be teaching from the Dead Sea Scrolls. Um, we just started it before it was a thing. Yeah, we even left the curriculum to do something else, but my kids started getting frustrated again, so we went back. Yeah, and then a lot of it, the reviews are sponsored, and so those are the ones that, of course, um, they're going to be biased. But I want to say again, um, the stellar review was Mom's Est, and she's not in here today, but it was stellar. Watch the unboxing video and then go back and watch the review. Um, and she'll, let you know her her raw thoughts on it. We tend to be concerned about the grade levels and not about the actual content too. Everyone is saying it's above grade level. Wow. Yeah, content. I have, I appreciate the content. Not just that it looks pretty. Goodness, they are letting flies in here. Is it a grade above? From what I saw, it looked to be for my kids kind of easy. I mean, I know it's not graded, but I don't know. It just seemed like something. It was too repetitive. Like they would go through those levels really quickly. Mm, let's see. My kids love science. Yeah, we like science. Outside of the prettiness, is there something that I liked? Um, the prettiness. Honestly, it was written by a mother. That is using it. I like that aspect. You know, um, I'm because you guys know I'm writing, and it's hard. I really really appreciate that fact, and I did leave that comment on the review I told you guys to watch. I know the care and the time that it took to put into that curriculum. I really, really, really appreciate that. All of the help that went into that, um, all of the resources, I really, really appreciate that. It is nicely done overall, but lacking. And, that's not to slight it because there are a lot of curriculum that are lacking. Um, I just lost my train of thought. Um, I don't know what I was going to say. Nicely done. Girl, you just pulled me on the spot. I know I said whatever I said in the review. Okay, but I know what I was gonna say. There are a number of mom made curriculum that I really appreciate because it was a mom rather than a major company that has done this. And educator, they're more writing the things to market. It's just mass media, whereas this mother has taken the care and the time to put her what she's been doing into this thing. And that's what I appreciate. It just seems more personal to me. So, I really wish I could love it. I really wish, I would. I mean, that would be one. But most often, I find myself drawn to curriculum that a mom has created. I've been debating so much about saying something, but I thought this might help. I've, upon a time, Mormonism believed that black culture was part of the devil work. It is in the old text. Now they don't believe this anymore. I have Mormon friends that I have talked to over the years for confirmations. Yeah. So, like I said, if when you give things to little kids, and little kids, young kids have to, you're teaching them something, and they're believing a certain thing. It's going to be very hard to break that and say, well, no, I just left this part out. So, you give it to them in bits and pieces, but not so much what's in these books in whole, because these books are totally whitewashed. And that's the sad part about it. And, for those that don't have the knowledge to go and or the understanding, some people, were raised this way, taught this way, and they don't know any better. And so that's what's being taught to the children, and they have no idea. It's ignorance. Um, we can't totally blame them, but the kids are going to be affected by this greatly. And like I said, for my kids, something like that is like that. Those images in the history portion, that's psychologically damaging. That's going to give them a poor self-image, and I don't want them to come up like that. Trust me, I've had my concerns too, and I still do. I watch out for references though. So yeah, a lot of people still ask the basic. Was the correct? They'll ask the person, do they see the LDS slant in the curriculum? Um, it's there. Like I said, that portion is left out, but it wasn't left out. That's how it was written. It was written to be, from that viewpoint, but to be marketed massly, it had to be included as an option. So, and even as I sit and write this quote unquote curriculum, the history part is very loose. It's very loose, but it's enough. It's not going to leave anybody out. It's going to help those that don't have a direction, other cultures kind of share and understanding. Bring in things that, just like when I share the books, I know it's not just us reading and watching my book calls and things like that. Do you
think this is the fossil?
I don't know. That kind of looks like a eagle head or a bird head, doesn't it?
It is a bird head. See the beak? See, it's rock.
Um, it's a fossil. Stop bringing stuff in here. So, oh my goodness, you make me want to afraid to touch. Um, yeah, I want. I know there are other cultures watching. and so I want to open them up to good, diversified books, just the same as I watch other book hauls and things like that. I like diversity. I'm not sharing just African American books over here and just, that's not what it's about. We like diversity around here. Um, mm, let's see, especially our family because we are Hebraic family, Masonic Torah, based on our homeschool styles, completely different. Sis, I'm watching that. Yes, yes, ma'am. Maybe now, as they see the gap, they'll fix it. Possibly, possibly. We can only hope that. We can only hope because again, it's difficult for somebody on the outside to, write coming from another perspective if they don't have the knowledge themselves. So I'm not in any way saying that, oh, this is bad, she need to fix this or anything like that. I'm just saying that this controversy. Okay, I gave my little stance against it. I'm not. Again, that's why I didn't come up and say, talk about this beforehand. But I'm just kind of neutral. It's not one that I'm using. Just like BJU and these other ones I talked about. I'm not using it. It's just not. It doesn't do anything for us. Like I said, being written from a mother, I appreciate that. I like that. There are a couple more that I do appreciate as well. Above any other, box curriculum, I really appreciate. Has anyone? Wait a minute. It also seemed like there was a lack of literature for something more literature based. Yeah, yeah. That's also what I saw. The literature, and it was also biased. It was biased, and most of the time in these things, I see just the basic Roll of Thunder, the Harriet Tubman biography. Um, what else? Just basic stuff. There's so much African American history out there. I mean, there are a lot. I don't want to say everybody is lacking, but there are so many great books out there. Just for us that could be included in a lot of curriculum, and it's not. So like I say, I try to share what I can so that you guys can see. Hey, this is out here. This is um leading to this and going back to you were talking about Underground Railroad. Yes, that is what our kind of focus is because we were over in Egypt and trying to leave Egypt and come to America in the way of geography and history, and then the Underground Railroad. So it's a lot. And then we're also working up to Canada because I'm trying to bring them to American history um, while also doing ancient. So we're just kind of bridging gaps. And this is going to take us longer than I can't even say I planned it, but it's just that's how it's going to be. Some at some point I want to. We're working on the colonies over here. I want to westward expansion because they already learned a little bit a few years ago. So I want to kind of move it that way so they can get that point, and then we'll just bring it back to wherever and because I don't want us to be stuck in Egypt or overseas forever. Um, what are the ones? I don't let me see. Yeah, we do our own literature, but we have always done our own literature studies. I don't use the readers either. Yeah, I enjoy the antiquated literature and things like that, and I have to share with what we're using now, what we've been using, even though it's gonna say 2018 curriculum, we've been using it. If you guys been watching, I've been sharing bits and pieces, just not saying this is the new stuff because it's not new. But I will share. I do appreciate that, but again, there are some things. We use fables, and you will see parallel to American fables, normal fables, that you would see. We have the African American version, and they are the same fables. A lot of our history, that is the problem. A lot of our history was not written down. It was told in the form of a story or a fable. Um, the one of our history books that I did share was written story form, not story form, but story form from true accounts. Let me pull this book up again real quick because it's right in front of me. Oh. Okay, starts in ancient and goes all the way to the present. So, yeah, it gives them a good picture of lots of things, and it's not, um, you know, chapter 6, Africans in the 13 colonies. So, big picture. It's not just all African American history. It talks about everybody in here. Uh, the Spanish, everybody, Islam, um, just whoever. It's not leaving anybody out. And I need to talk more about it one day. Popping in to say hi, Hannah. What are the ones you enjoy? I have heard you speak on Hooked on Phonics. Anything more you like for language arts? Hooked on Phonics. I'm just, I guess I can say I'm biased, but hmm. Oh no, there is something else. I haven't shared it yet. I'm sorry, guys. I really have to get on it. You guys know I'm kind of busy. I will share. Has to do with these little things right here. Okay, so I will share very soon. I think, hopefully, um, what I'm doing with those things because they're not just little brown books. Okay, there's so much in those little brown books, and you guys, I bet a lot of you guys do not know because some people say, "Oh, my kids are bored with them." They just, because I guess you're just using them as a reader, and that's it. There's almost a 400-page instruction manual to that set. And if a lot of you guys knew about it and read it, you would understand a little bit more how to use it. And there's also the recommendation for language arts that we are using. And one of the other things that we use is Emma Searle primary language lessons, and I also use intermediate for the older one, and his stuff. So we're doing stuff like that. And if you guys watched signing off, but yes, I was supposed to be doing school. Okay, if you watch the literature, I think was it literature and poetry, one of those, literature in a brief, something like that. That video you saw kind of some stuff that they're doing with the narration and stuff like that. A lot of it, like I said, the fables and turn of the century literature and stuff like that. We believe in the good stuff, not twaddle. My kids really appreciate living books, and so yep, they have a manual too. They sure do. Um, you guys leave me a comment in this video after the chat so I can remember to link it. So yeah, there's a manual. And like I said, it will really help you, kind of understand what you are, how to navigate. All my stuff, a lot of the stuff is on PDF. Okay, so that's the thing. A lot of stuff went to PDF, And so I don't have a lot of hard copies to show when I do share the curriculum. And so that makes it a little more interesting because I don't have to, use.
No,
Yes, ma'am.
I told the ant on me.
Let me see. Oh, goodness. I don't have to use every little piece of a book or not use it and let it get wasted. So I find this way works better. We'll use spirals so they can write down whatever it is they need to or whatever special paper I give them. But I have Behold My Language Arts, our artist studies, our art, poetry, all of that. That's what's in here.
Mama,
Hmm?
I want to make my own peanut butter sound.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can parables from nature. Let me see if I can show you a cover of something. Whew. And I showed this before, but one of the recommendations from the Little Brown books, Long's. You have to go look on the counter. Long's New Language Exercises is kind of like you guys know. A lot of you guys are familiar with the Emma Searle. It's only a couple things I use from there, but I like the Longs. There's also Harvey's. All PDFs, all free. So take what you need. Only print out, a little bit at a time. But this is old school schoolwork. And it really does its job without all the fluff, without all the glitz and the glam. It does its job. We sit down. I think in one of the live videos we did, the live homeschooling, they were working out along. They were just writing some sentences using is or are or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember what that was, but old school. Name parts of speech, things like that. Just simple, and they just write it down, and they get it, and they like that. Go put it in the refrigerator for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So very soon I will try to make it a priority to kind of get this in order to share all of these things. And I know I'm going to have, questions on the links and stuff like that. But again, they're all free. I have the book. They have a manual. Manuals aren't always available secondhand, so I think it gets lost. Did you see the Alexander book? Yes, the African folk tales. Let me pull up my folk tales right quick, because I know a lot of you all have this book. After I shared it a while ago, a lot of you guys found it, and this is something my older kids grew up with. This one that they read the cover off of, literally. And so we're using it for narration and poetry and all kinds of stuff. Now, I want to say, I keep saying I bought it, but I think my mom bought one too. She had one in her house. Okay? These fables are the same fables in the, what do you call it? In the Becca fables, in the Arnold Loeb fables. Same ones, but there are also biographies. There's also songs in here. There's history in here. Read alouds. Colin Powell, Parks, uh, Harriet Beecher Stowe, all kinds of stuff in here, and fairy tales and myths. So we do a lot with the narrations and the copy works and things like that. And I'm gonna show you this one too because this is the color version. It's a little smaller. It's a newer version. See, you can see the difference. This one just has color pictures in it and a little less stuff. This one has black and white pictures, but it still has the pictures in it. So if you come across these, which are really a dime a dozen now, same thing. So, and it's nothing, it's good and rich. I don't have that book. I need to get that one. Yeah. So either or, but like I said, this is the one that really, has everything in it. You may find this one, but you can really find these books on eBay for like $3 or $4. Um, most of the time. Let me show you the inside so you can see. A Nazi gets what he deserves. The Spirit Tree. Let me open this up real good. Okay. Here's the story of Moses and Pharaoh's court. Okay. I'm going to show you Moses and Pharaoh's court in the other book. There are morals and things like that. And it points that out. Slow and steady gets the whatever. So we do a lot of things on that. Let's see, where is Moses in here? Phone going off. Is it in here? I haven't read that one in a while, so I kind of forgot. Where is 46? Let me see. All right. So here's Moses and Pharaoh's court in this one. So just that type of image. But literally, my kids would go to bed. They would fight over this book. And so I knew that the little ones would love that book. And every time they are here and they're reading to them, they read the stories from those books to them. So, yeah. But, like I said, diversity. We're doing a lot of, diverse things. And I just kind of give it to them in bits and pieces. I know the last book call I shared was the Newbery Honors. And those I said 9 to 12 years old was a good age. We are going to cover Amos Fortune and what is that other one? We are going to be reading that very shortly. And Sign of the Beaver. So that's going to tie into what we are doing now. So I have to squeeze that in with the read alouds that we're doing, rather than making them read those on their own. We're going to work on those. Goodness gracious. So, but yeah, as far as like I say, any one type of box curriculum, this controversy thing is just a lot. Amos Fortune, that's on my, yeah. Yep, that is a good one. So I'm sitting down, and you guys know I have to read all the books that I give the kids. That's another thing. I'm always reading. So I have to read the books. I don't give the kids the books because just the slightest little things. And I know some of the books I may have used with the older kids, but if some of the things I have forgotten, like I'm trying to remember, I can't even remember the book right now. But I was trying to remember the events in the book, and I'm just going to have to read the book because I don't want to think that it's okay and it's not okay. We had a discussion recently, one of my girls, over Harry Potter. Now, we have Harry Potter on the shelf. We have our set of beliefs and things like that. And we were discussing the fact that my good friend would not let her kids read Harry Potter when it came out. Now, I read cover to cover, everything. And my kids were, at the time when that stuff came out, my kids had already read Roots. So Queen and stuff like that. I knew they could handle Harry Potter. They know, and these ones, they can distinguish too. But again, she did not feel that her kids were mature enough for something like that. So that I understood. When they got older, they were able to read it. But I just, some of these things that were being said about this one, particular curriculum, I guess it's just leaving everybody in um, different places, literally. So yeah, the had the wrong timeline for that one. So by the time I handed it to my daughter, we were already covered that in history about 120 years later. That happens sometimes. Sometimes I try to keep the stuff lined up, but we have so many projects and books, and these books get long. Sometimes I just read them whenever. I don't try to. I may pull in one or two good ones and tie it into what we're doing, but I don't worry about it. I don't worry about it at all, because if I do that, that would just drive me crazy, because then I would be on that, well, we didn't get to this book. We didn't get to use it. I forgot about it. So I don't particularly say this is what we have to, you know, use right then. Harry Potter was also written in England. Doctor Who was a children's show, so that content is immature for most in the U.S., but not there. Exactly, exactly. So you have to kind of use your discernment. No, they're not, the little kids are not reading it right now. But, I don't even know if they would really want to read it. Maybe my younger son, but they're not reading that stuff right now. And I don't, with these, I don't even think they would be ready for Malcolm X and, all the other books that the older kids read when they were, 10-ish. I don't know. I just don't think, maybe, I don't want to say I don't think, but I think I'm just trying to hold on to them. I'm trying to keep them small. It's only one, well, not one. It's a couple of books that we required like around 10 years old that they had to read. It was just a family requirement. And I think those I will give to them straight away. But the other ones, I will let them decide if they actually want to read those books. I'm trying to pull out, there's one more in here in my drawer. Let's see. Is it in the drawer or on the shelf? That's a good question. I think it's on the shelf. And I don't feel like going over there because it's in the back. I will have to share with you guys. It is what they didn't tell you in history class, which I really thought was in here. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong drawer. Let's see. Oh, and Babylon the Timbuktu. So at 10, that was a requirement. And also The Truth by Robert Dennis. So those are the only things that I require. And they're not as heavy as they look, but they explain a lot of history and truth. So just because we can't doesn't mean just because we can doesn't mean we should. Yeah. So the content not there. Yeah, that other book is on the shelf. I know I have shared those books. Oh, that book is right here. I thought it was further down the shelf. Let me grab the other one. And I had taken it out of my drawer. Here's the other one. I had shared these on Instagram a while ago. So, required. And it just, some things that you would not normally see in other history books. Because it has been omitted and, uh, disguised. So, but yeah, we're going from fairy tales and fables to that type of thing in a couple years. That kind of, I'm trying to hold on to them. Like I said, they will on their own when they become curious enough to ask. I sit down and talk to them about whatever it is they want to know. Um, yeah, that is over there, and there's a lot of more things over there. I shared or need to share what's on my shelf. I know I recommended Incidents of a Slave Girl. I always recommend that book. Harriet Jacobs. That's a good one. So, look at my notes and see if there was anything else, and I dropped one. Anything else I wanted to say on this thing? Language arts. Oh yeah, there was something on the back. Blending. Yeah, I already said that the blending was not to my liking. It was repetitive. Um, the diagramming, that type of thing, was also repetitive. Flashcards. I think it says something about you use the flashcards before the lessons, and it's like okay. Some of it seemed like busy work. So, um, but that's not that's a I don't want to see that that's not controversy. That's just my opinion of what I thought about it. I just, again, never really cared to come and share. Nobody asked. If somebody had asked about my opinion of it, but that's the number one question I hear. A lot of people are asking people, what do you think about this curriculum? And it's always that one. I was watching Hannah yesterday, and somebody was asking about it, and she doesn't use it, and she was pointing them to somebody else. But um, yeah, it's somebody. So many people still have questions about it, even from what they've seen. It seems like they're afraid because of the viewpoints on it. So my kids won't let me be great. You have to watch the replay. Yes, we do have to prepare. Well, thank you for joining. Now I'm getting ready to go in just a minute myself. We need to get some math. I want to get, despite what's going on in my mood, like I said, my spirit, the situation going on, I still want to get a couple of them in here. They've been asking to do some math. So, um, time to get the piggy books out. Anyway, I don't know what it is about them piggy books, but yeah, get those little, those math lessons for living education. They want to do those. We need to work on some other things. But all in all, hopefully this was, you know, kind of shed some light on things. Um, and just kind of answer the question as to why. I've never discussed it, but I just, I haven't, nothing, no other curriculum has ever stood out like this one to cause this much riffraff. And so it just leaves me in just kind of disbelief that one curriculum could do so much and people are just, at odds with each other. And it's like, you know what? And at the end of the day, you have to do what is best for your family. Um, the controversy is going to be brought by choice, and if you put it out there, of course, people are going to have their opinions by it. So, be ready to defend yourself, even though you shouldn't have to, but my goodness. Thank you for doing this. I had and hubby just walked in. I'll see you all, and I have another chat coming up soon. We're going to discuss having amazing school years, days, weeks, months, and a messy house. Because you guys know there has to be a balance, right? And most of us don't have it and don't know how to get it. So we're going to talk about that. So I will see you guys in that chat. And hopefully you guys can, real life, um, let us know what's going on. Because I know we have it. Some people, the days are good in school, but I don't know what to do. The house is wrecked. How do we handle this? So share, even if it is not going well, because that's only going to help everybody else. We can collaborate on the ideas and things like that. But and then help those that are just now starting to homeschool. This little thing keeps falling over. Come get this. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for joining me. Peace out. Good conversation. And again, thank you all for the much needed prayers. I will see you all. In that.